Olbers's paradox gaze into the night sky. It's scattered with stars, and yet vast darkness stretches between them. But if the universe is infinite and teeming with stars, shouldn't the entire sky glow with endless light? This brings us to Olbers's paradox, a long-standing riddle that has intrigued scientists and philosophers for ages. Picture yourself in a thick forest. Wherever your eyes wander, you're bound to spot a tree. Likewise, in an endless universe packed with stars, every direction your eyes turn should eventually meet a star, making the whole sky shine as brightly as the sun's surface. But clearly, it doesn't. So, why is that? Let's look at the explanation. The universe has a limited age, approximately 13.8 billion years. The light from stars that lie beyond that boundary hasn't had enough time to reach us. The universe is expanding, and because of that, light from distant stars gets stretched into longer wavelengths through a process called redshift, shifting that light out of the visible range. That means the darkness in the night sky isn't truly empty. It's saturated with light we just aren't able to detect. It serves as a glimpse into the ancient universe, a powerful symbol of its age, its expansion, and the constraints of what we can perceive. What does Olbers's paradox ultimately teach us? To challenge what we assume to be obvious, infinity doesn't always behave the way we expect. To peer deeper than the surface, darkness may hide profound and hidden realities. And to keep our curiosity alive, because the cosmos above is a vast unfolding story still waiting to be fully understood. The grain of millet paradox. In the realm of biology, the activity of a lone cell might appear to be of little importance, yet when combined, these cells form tissues, organs, and entire living systems. This is where the grain of millet paradox enters, reminding us that the world functions across various levels, and what seems minor on one scale can prove revolutionary on another. This paradox holds profound ethical significance as well. When facing global issues such as inequality, environmental harm, and widespread health crises, it's tempting to believe that our individual choices are meaningless. However, the grain of millet paradox highlights the impact of accumulation. A single act of compassion, one vote, or a simple step toward reducing waste may seem trivial. Yet when echoed by millions, these small actions have the potential to reshape the world. So what's the key message? Notice the small details, like grains of millet, single drops of water, and fleeting efforts. These are the elements that quietly, yet powerfully, shape our reality. Understand our interconnectedness. What we do individually ripples outward and contributes to the collective effect. Accept the complexity. Real transformation often doesn't result from one grand gesture, but from the steady layering of small, consistent actions. The grain of millet paradox is far more than just a theoretical thought experiment. It offers a meaningful perspective, reminding us that every grain counts. And that includes you. The paradox of the raven. Imagine someone claiming that observing a green apple could somehow prove that all ravens are black. Sounds completely ridiculous, doesn't it? Yet that's exactly the strange logic behind the paradox of the raven, a fascinating and mind-twisting concept from the worlds of logic and philosophy. Let's unpack this idea. The claim, all ravens are black, is logically identical to the statement, if something isn't black, then it isn't a raven. So when you observe a green apple, an object that is neither black nor a raven, you're technically supporting the second statement, which in turn reinforces the original one. This forms the core of the paradox. But here's the catch. Our instincts reject this conclusion. Intuitively, seeing a black raven feels like solid proof, while spotting a green apple seems completely irrelevant. Still, in the realm of formal logic, both are treated as equally supportive evidence. So what's the takeaway? There's often a disconnect between logic and intuition. Logic tells us that all valid observations contribute to proof, while our minds tend to focus on what feels directly related. Not all evidence carries the same weight. A raven clearly connects to the statement, whereas an apple does not. Scientific inquiry is nuanced. Collecting evidence isn't simply about volume, it's about context, credibility, and how we interpret it. The paradox of the raven exposes the boundaries of pure logic and reminds us that human reasoning leans heavily on instinctive mental shortcuts. It encourages us to reflect deeply on what we consider as proof, challenge our default assumptions, see paradoxes as doorways to more profound understanding. In the end, this puzzle isn't merely about birds and fruit, it's a lens into how we think, how we analyze, and how we search for truth.